Solar power. The big one, the original, the numero uno. Without it, everything on this planet will be kind of grey and dusty and dead. Plants run on it and trees can get pretty big, so there must be something in it. In fact, if you take all of the energy that the sun provides to the Earth in just 1 hour, you could power the entire globe's electricity system for 1 year. That's pretty amazing. But how do you get solar power to work for us little humans? Well, you just do something like this. This is Abbots Ripton Solar Farm in Huntingdon. It's a solar generation station in this little corner of Cambridgeshire run by Octopus Energy, a company that specialises in providing renewable energy to your house and one of Europe's biggest solar enthusiast companies. In fact, they've invested 3.4 billion quid into Europe's renewable energy system over the past couple of years, which means that it's fairly safe to say that they're quite keen on clean energy. And this little lake of solar is currently capable of producing 24.67 megawatts of electricity that comes directly from the sun, all while I'm sitting here, and I'm not even crispy. I'm a little bit sweaty, but not microwaved. But that's enough power every hour, if it was running at 100% capacity all the time, to run 493 Vauxhall Corsa E's for nearly 100,000 miles. But you know those solar panels you see on some domestic houses? Well, this is exactly like that, except on steroids. This park, and it's not the biggest, has 96,734 panels and covers 53 hectares. And the electricity it produces is about as clean as it can be. After all, there's no burning of fossil fuels or nasty emissions. This is how you get the sun to power your electric car. So how do you get that to boil your kettle or take you to work? Here comes the science bit. Why have I got a kettle?
Solar power is basically the conversion of solar energy into electricity, getting the sunshine produced from our nearest star, the sun, and translating it into a form of power that we can actually make use of. At the moment, the most common form of solar power in the world, and especially in Europe, is called photovoltaic. Photovoltaic is the one you're most likely to see because they are what we know as solar cells. A few cells make a panel, a few panels make an array, and a lot of arrays make a farm or a park. The more of them you have, the more electricity you can generate. And you can put them pretty much anywhere there's enough light to power them. There are other ways to generate power from the sun, but they're less common, and all of them work best in places where it's really sunny.
Now here at Abbots Ripton, we're actually talking about the more common photovoltaic type. Now that uses fluctuations in the sunlight to create a thing called the photovoltaic effect in the panel, which can then be turned into direct current, which goes off and powers things. Now, like a lot of these things, it was invented way back in the 1880s by an American dude called Charles Fritz. Good work, Mr. Fritz. The good things about solar are pretty obvious. 1, it's free. 2, there's a lot of it. And 3, our power source is going to last about 5 billion years according to latest research. Also, it's clean. The environmental cost of the electricity is really down to how much it costs to make the cells themselves. But once they're actually made, then they pay for themselves fairly quickly, and they're tough. They need cleaning rather than huge amounts of servicing or maintenance, and most manufacturers will actually guarantee their solar panels from between 20 and 25 years. If you think about it, they have to be fairly robust because they power satellites in space. And better still, they can be used in places where there's no infrastructure at all, be that for pumping water out of a well or just keeping the lights on. In fact, there are companies out there that are producing clear solar panels which could be used as the windows in your house. Imagine that. There is one small problem with trying to power your life from the sun though. Yeah, it's called night time or cloudy days. I don't know whether you've noticed, but the UK isn't necessarily the sunniest place at all times. That's why, you know, holidays are popular.
The best places on Earth for solar are in the tropics and subtropics, and deserts with no clouds can get proper sunshine for up to 10 hours a day. According to NASA, the sunniest place on Earth is the Sahara Desert. Surprise, surprise. Weird fact, if you put solar panels in the Sahara, they wouldn't last as long because the sand would scour them and make them less efficient. And funny enough, they get too hot. Facts, I told you I like them. But America, China, Australia and India are all getting really good at solar, and things are getting better all the time. The future is a happy place, positively sunny in fact, because the International Energy Agency has predicted that if things keep going as they are, solar power could account for 27% of global energy needs by 2050.
Can you hear that? That kind of electronic screeching. That is the sound of sunlight producing electricity, because it's actually quite sunny around here at the minute. But it's not just a case of on or off either, because one of the ways of combating the fluctuations in solar energy is to kind of buddy it up with another renewable to create a kind of hybrid system. So I'm talking about a solar farm that also has a bit of wind power, or perhaps battery storage, or even hydroelectric.
In the case of hydro, when there's excess solar capacity on a sunny day, the electricity is used to pump water up a hill to a storage reservoir. Once demand picks up again, say in the evening, the water is allowed to flow back down the hill through a turbine and produce electricity again.
There's also the option of using, you guessed it, electric cars connected to the grid to store up some of that energy when solar is producing a lot, and then feeding it back when we need it. So you charge up when solar is on point, and then you feed it back into the grid when actually there's more demand on the grid itself. Now that helps calm the peaks and troughs of the demand and makes everything that little bit greener.
A smart meter or intelligent tariff like Octopus Go can help you manage the process. So basically you set and forget, and the wizardly electronics do all the hard working out for you. Even better if you have some solar panels on your roof. And another good thing about solar? It's not a hugely industrial process, and it's scalable.
Which means you can have a big solar farm like this one, or small solar panels on your house, and they all will make a difference. Some cars, like Teslas and Hyundais, also have solar panels on their roofs. Now, they don't actually really contribute much to the battery in the car, but they can keep your air conditioning running, or just keep the 12-volt battery that starts your car in tip-top shape. There's even an experimental car called a Lightyear One, which is basically one giant solar panel, and that is the most efficient car in the world. Solar is also becoming cheaper and more efficient all of the time, so you can have smaller solar panels producing much more green energy. It might have an upfront cost, but once it's up and running, it doesn't take an awful lot of looking after. And, I can't stress this enough, it won't run out, and it doesn't produce any nastiness as you harvest it to stick the energy into other things.
With battery storage for your house becoming more common, and the huge potential for tapping into other kinds of energy storage, like the electric car parked on your drive, to even out the national power supply as renewable energy itself ebbs and flows, the future of solar is looking positively rosy.
You could say that the future's bright, but I would say that the future is actually 5,700 degrees Celsius, because that's roughly the same temperature as the surface of the sun. Fact. I know what you're thinking. I should probably just stick to washing the panels, huh?
We've teamed up with Octopus Energy to answer all the burning questions you have about electric cars.